Well, hello there. Welcome back to Movie Talk, and today we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorites, The Incredible Hulk Returns. Now, it's a 1988 TV movie. It's just a bunch of 80s cheesy, campy fun. I just absolutely love. I've loved the Hulk show ever since I was a kid, and my dad got me hooked on it. He used to watch that when he was a kid, and we watched it together. So I grew up watching that show. And then that TV movie is the first thing I ever seen of the Hulk. It's like, back then you're like, oh my god, it's the Hulk. And then you watch it now, I'm just like, it goes kind of slow, but when it gets to the Hulk scenes, it's still pretty campy and not as like wow as it was back in the day, because that's all they had back in the day. But it's still fun to watch for me because it just takes me back to my childhood, and I just like watching it. It's like Michael Jackson. Have you seen my childhood? This sees Bill Bixby come back as David Banner, and it's been some time since he's last turned into the Hulk, and he's working at this science institute where he's under the alias David Banyan. Really clever, right?
You just make a joke.
But anyway, he's making this transpose machine, or whatever he calls it in the movie. I can't remember. He tells the institute that it's a machine to do one thing, but it's also secretly a puzzle to open up the gamma radiation part so he can cure himself of the Hulk, Well, he's starting to run the machine to complete the process of turning himself back, like getting rid of the Hulk and ridding himself of the Hulk forever, when old friend named Donald Blake comes and interrupts it, and they start talking, and he talks about how he goes on I can't say that word. He goes on an expedition for archaeology, and he stumbles upon a cave with a Viking tomb in it. It just happens to be Thor, which is played by Eric Allen Kramer of Good Luck Charlie fame. He was the dad. Well, he finds the hammer, and then I guess him touching it turns it on or something and summons Thor. I don't know. But instead of Donald Blake being the alter ego of Thor, he's someone who summons him with the hammer. What it was meant to do was, introduce Thor to the audience, and then they were hoping for a spin-off series with Thor, but that never happened. Well, Donald, he summons Thor. After Donald Blake summons Thor, he starts picking on David, and one thing leads to another, and he throws him into an electrical panel and electrocutes him, and then, he gets angry and turns into the Hulk again for the first time in so many years. And Donald finally sees, that's why he's been saying he's dead. No wonder, isn't it? And then Thor and the Hulk get into one of the slowest fight scenes I've ever seen. But at the time, it was cool as shit, because you're seeing Thor and the Hulk fight each other. But every move is in slow-mo. And then most of the fight is just the Hulk growling a lot. The best part of the fight is when it's, sadly, toward the end, is when he throws him out the window and then jumps off the building. Thor, before he jumps off the building, Thor offers to be the Hulk's friend. He's like, oh, you threw me out the window and threw me around once inside the building, so you can beat me. Let's be friends instead. And then he jumps off the building, and then that's how that ends up playing out. And then, so you have Thor and the Hulk in the same movie now. There's also a side plot with the owners of the institute getting involved with some gangsters or some like mob or whatever. I guess they're trying to get money from the organization or whatever. I don't remember. I think he's fencing money, I know he's doing something illegal. It's just he's getting involved with the some gangsters. That's all you gotta know. He's just getting involved with some gangsters, and then, you know, toward the end, the Hulk, you know, he fights the gangsters here and there throughout the movie, and at the end, ultimately, him and Thor team up and beat the bad guys. And they also have Jack Colvin come back as Mr. McGee, which doesn't add diddly squat. It's really wasted, honestly. He shows up only a few times in the movie and never sees the Hulk in action. Excuse me. He only shows up a few times in the movie and never even sees the Hulk in action. Like in the show, he'd show up. He'd be an important part of the story in a lot of the episodes. He'd just see the Hulk, doing this thing, and then he'd start chasing after him, and he'd miss him. The Hulk would be gone. You don't even get that in this movie. He don't even come close to catching David Banner or turning into the Hulk or nothing. It would have been a better way to send him off, because that's the last time he ever plays the character. It would have been a better way to send him off if he had witnessed David Banner turn into the Hulk. After he's investigating everything, at the warehouse where they're at. Somehow he gets informed where they're going to be, and then he sees something happening in the parking lot where David gets hit by the car. If you've seen the movie, David gets knocked off the car by one of the Lamberts that's doing the deal with the bad guy druggy people, and he turns over and he's turned into the Hulk. Well, it would have been cool if when that happened, he fell to the ground, Mr. McGee saw him and went to help, and then turns him over, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's David Banner!" And then he turns into the Hulk, and then goes to save beat the bad guys. That would have been a lot better way to send him off. And Jack McGee gets killed off, a little bit after, and David sees that, goes to his grave, and says a few words "sorry," or something like that. Just something cool to send him off. But no, he just barely in it, and then doesn't give any important parts to the story, important lines or anything. Don't give any important lines. He's just there to be there. It's oh, you remember that character from the show, right? You remember him from the series. He's here. And then his girlfriend, she really don't add nothing. She's just the girlfriend character who gets kidnapped. Classic girlfriends, always getting kidnapped. But yeah, that's pretty much my review of it. It's like I said, it's just a bunch of 80s cheesy, campy fun. Fun it's a good family watch. It's like I said, it's an important movie for me. I watched it a lot as a kid. I love it. It still makes me laugh when I watch it because of how corny it is. But also at the same time, you see the Hulk and Thor fight or Hulk come on the screen. It's it's just awesome still. That just watching them destroy people or throw them in slow motion. It's just fun. Well, I'm gonna give this movie, I would say a 3, but that'd be a little bit more. I'm gonna give it a 2.75 out of 5. That's what I'll rate that one. That's pretty fair to me. It's not the best story-wise, but it has a nice place in my heart. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think of it. And also, if you want, feel free to leave a suggestion for a movie you'd like me to check out that I possibly haven't seen, or that you want me to review. That just whatever. Whatever tickles your fancy. Alright. Till next time, this has been Movie Talk, and I'll see you on the next one.